extended his range beyond the three-point stripe,
90%
hitting
from the foul
34% of
Oh,
those.
he hitting threes? I ain't know this
Boofed
nigga was
range
shooting
beyond the
threes.
three-point stripe, hitting 34% of those.
Okay, Magic. YouTube, what going on, man? It's your boy Groovy tapping in with y'all boys, man. Welcome back to the channel, man. Salute to my OGs, salute to my young boys that's watching this vid today, man. I got another banger for y'all today, man. In today's video, we are reacting to how Magic Johnson destroyed teams without volume scoring. Now, we all know Magic Johnson is one of the greatest point guards of all time. Also one of the greatest passers of all time. Won a lot of championships, won 5 with the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? Hall of Fame type player, man. You know what I'm saying? One of one. Was one of the pioneers of the NBA in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? He kind of helped, you know, get attention to the game, him and Bird in the 80s, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that, man. So Magic is definitely one of them ones, one of the GOATs of the game. Now, in this video, it's saying, how did he destroy teams without volume scoring? Now, obviously, with his passing, bro. Magic Johnson was a hell of a passer. He can hit you with all different type of passes, bounce pass, over the head pass, behind the back pass, you know, between the legs. He can hit you with the no look passes. He can hit you with the over the head passes. He can hit you with all, I'm telling you, bro, all type of passes in his arsenal. You know what I'm saying? He gonna find you. He see the play before it even happens, bro. It's Magic Johnson, bro. So in this video, we're just gonna give him his flowers. You know what I'm saying? Keep shining the light on my boy Magic, man. And just know that us basketball heads will appreciate him, man. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, before we hop into the video, like the video, man. Comment down below any other videos y'all want me to react to next. And last but not least, subscribe, man. Let's go.
The Earvin Magic Johnson, the star of Showtime, a highlight reel
Lakers.
legend who won 5 championships in Los Angeles.
MVPs.
But was there more to his game than just fancy passing? What was his defensive impact like? And could someone who wasn't a huge scorer actually be the greatest offensive player in NBA history?
Okay.
You are watching what greatness
Let's
is
see,
all
let's see.
about.
Where's Larry Bird in all this? Has it blocked by Elijah Wan?
Michael Jordan saves the day.
This series tackles one question: who was the best at his best? We start at the ABA merger and go through the best multi-year stretches, examining the legends who provided the most on-court impact. These are the greatest peaks.
All right, man. Greatest peaks. Let's get it. Let's get it. Magic Johnson. 87 through 89.
Magic's just a great basketball player. He's the best I've ever seen, you know. Unbelievable. I don't know what to say.
In the early days of the NBA, ball handling was left to the shorter players. Point guards maxed out at about 6'5", until young Magic Johnson shattered that ceiling. At 6'8", Magic had the size of a big man, but instead he became the tallest floor general in league history.
Wow.
Earvin always possessed these high-level ball skills, playing this way in high school and college, and his ability to handle the ball at high speed made him a unicorn in transition.
Sheesh.
With everyone within 20
pushing
feet
the
of the
rock.
hoop then, rebounds turned into foot races, and Magic's speed strained backpedaling defenders. That little change of direction is enough to spin around the defense, and there are no bigs back to stop the oversized Johnson.
Nice.
With everyone chasing offensive rebounds, Magic
man,
could
crash
often charge the rim as the
push,
largest
push,
player,
push.
and he loved that in and out dribble, but also notice his change of direction at speed, the big step one way, then striding the other. He wasn't quite a Euro stepper in these spots, but his use of elongated strides for his height was part of his downhill devastation, even against set defenders. That's a baby cut there to dust the first defender, a beautiful behind-the-back dribble, and then almost a proto-Euro step with a big step right, then changing directions back to the left. He wasn't Giannis, but Magic's size and head of speed made it difficult to keep him from getting to the cup, and so he became the godfather of the grab and go, scooping a rebound and flooring it to the other end.
Bro.
Even on makes, he would build speed and drive it down your throat. Danny Ainge stays with the crossover here, but Boston's center isn't back yet, so Magic can easily clean up the miss.
Rebound, put back.
Off this make, he builds up speed, and Seattle's center is near the three-point line, so that change of direction turns him around, and look at how low and sturdy Johnson is. He's powering through contact with his body, and it's free throws. Here come the Lakers again off a make, only this time Boston has pieces in place, but Magic upshifts into a backpedaling Ainge, and so help defenders need to sink into the lane, and that just creates wide open offense.
Byron Scott.
Defenses who flooded the paint in transition to wall off Magic still surrendered perimeter jumpers. These outside jumpers were big wins for defenses, especially long twos, but Magic's pressure created a kind of pick your poison where if help came, he smoked it with his passing. Jack approves. So that made big men reluctant to leave their marks, and then Magic just scored over smaller defenders.
Nice.
His playmaking was so threatening he could use it to unlock scoring.
God damn.
Imagine playing defense against this. If you sprint back, Magic uses that body to cut you off and slow you down, and if you're a big man hustling back, you have to snap yourself around only to cover AC Green flying down the wing, but joke's on you because the Magician still has the ball.
Nice. That was
of course,
smooth as
Magic's
hell.
throat to score also opened passing windows in
and out.
turn.
Nice.
And this is
Good
all
find.
possible because of his dribbling,
Bang out
behind
worthy.
the back, through the legs, whatever it took.
Damn.
Magic was incredibly secure with his handle in tight spots, changing speeds when needed, shielding the ball with his body, and snapping passes off the bounce. This allowed him to probe defenses. He's cut off well here, but protects the ball from a trailer and then attacks with the left, and again the body protects the rock.
Okay.
He made it look easy, but at 6'8", Magic's ability to protect the ball at speed, he was rarely ever stripped, and use his body to shield defenders made him arguably the most dominant transition weapon ever.
I agree, bro. One of the most dominant transition weapons ever. I agree with that statement, bro. My boy just get the ball, whether it's a make or a miss, he gets the ball and he runs, bro. And coaches preach that, and I see why, bro. These are easy transition points, bro. Literally, bro. A lot of these teams are just scoring the ball, jogging back on defense. But if you got a point guard like Magic, get the ball and go. Come on, bro. That's an advantage right there, bro. He's running past the defense. They not set yet. Easy buckets, easy transition layups, easy open three-point shot. Like, the way he pushes the ball is crazy, bro. Like, that's a skill in itself, bro.
It was largely the same story in the half court too. This guard tries to funnel Magic into this big man, but he ends up bodying him out of the play, and it's free throws.
Nice.
Irvin also used that tight handle and change of speed. This stop and go turned John Stockton into a matador,
nice.
and Magic's acceleration could blow by athletic wings.
Right there. Nice.
He could also score from floater range, flowing into shots at all kinds of angles with crafty little releases like this. Fist pump. When headed right to left, he also had a rolling hook shot from this range, and he could feel contact and immediately hop into a soft shot attempt.
Okay.
His size and body control made these looks clean, and Magic's incredible dexterity led to some seriously soft touch on these
Nice touch
shots.
around the rim, man.
He also used his size to pick apart defenses from the perimeter, hurling assists over the top, and the accuracy and speed on some of these deliveries set them apart.
Nice.
Again, he's using his body here, able to shield off defenders by turning his back while still seeing all the action. And his height let him keep a live dribble while just diming up teammates over shorter guards.
Wow.
And these were some of the most brilliant passes ever.
It is.
Does anyone look open here? Because Magic slingshots a pass over traffic to Worthy, all because this
crazy.
defender turned away from James to navigate the screen. Worthy stopped instead of going through, and Magic's third eye read the whole thing. Johnson
hell
fired
do you
bold
even see
passes
that?
like this across the paint regularly, and they required velocity and the acuity to read defenders' eyes so he could throw fastballs right by their heads and they couldn't
Damn.
react in time. Bonus points
I
for
even
trying this
get
against
that
Larry
in there.
Bird, who already picked off a tight Magic
Push it,
pass
push it,
earlier
push
in
it.
that game.
His head always up, too.
That one was a looping attempt, and Magic clearly trusted his fastball more, sometimes even too much, overestimating how quickly he could teleport one past a nearby defender. And there are spots where a lob or something softer over the top look open, but he often throws it harder. Here he needs to lob one out in front of his intended receiver, but misses it, and then he's called for a one-step travel, changing his mind. Another minor nitpick about Magic's fastball is that sometimes it was a little too hot to handle.
Yeah.
But most of the time, his passing velocity fit the ball into tight windows. For instance, some of his entries from the top like this were just bullseyes. He wasn't quite at Bird's level as an outlet passer, but he was splendid there as well, able to use that hairpin trigger off the bounce from the backcourt. And Magic's best outlets were snapping completions to his streaking teammates like this. There is an argument that Bird was a better pure passer of sorts, but I'm comfortable saying he was a superior off-ball passer where Magic's dribbling gave him a huge on-ball edge.
Definitely.
Johnson carved out way more chances, and risk-taking in those spots is a natural trade-off. He also mastered certain angles and reads and relentlessly hit them over and over, and so it's nearly impossible to argue that anyone created more offense for his teammates in the 60s, 70s, or 80s than peak Magic Johnson.
Definitely.
Using our best estimates of shots created, no one forced help and then set up a teammate more than Magic until the 2000s. And even if we include everyone from the three-point era, Johnson still looks historically strong as a playmaker in these estimates. So just how high did all of this playmaking take the Lakers on offense? And did Magic give back any of that value because of questionable defense?
The Converse weapon. That's to shoot. That's Magic do what he was born to do.
Toward the end of the 80s, more of Magic's shot creation came in the half court, as the Lakers moved away from a steady diet of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar post-ups and started running more pick and roll for Magic. These were mostly side pick and rolls inside the line, where defenses committed extra defenders, and Magic could spray passes for open looks. This two-man game gave defenses fits, where if they didn't send extra defenders, Magic could slice into the openings himself. But of course, his passing punished any help. The defense collapses, and this was before that little lob pass was popular. Off pick and roll, Magic could use all his little scoring tricks headed to the rim. He could put that speedy hook pass to good use, hitting the roll man. And it wasn't as common, but he could make the pocket pass too. But perhaps the most critical part of this half-court dance was Magic's outside shooting, where he'd punish defenders who went under the screen. He didn't pull this as frequently as some players do today, but there were times when he was quick to fire, and he was an underrated outside shooter. In the last 3 years of his career, he shot 90% at the foul line, and he extended his range beyond the three-point stripe, hitting 34% of those.
Oh, he hitting threes? I ain't know this nigga was
range
shooting
beyond
threes.
the three-point stripe, hitting 34% of those.
Okay, Magic.
Before the 87 season, Magic said he had to shift his mindset to become more of a scorer. And I think it's reflected in his willingness to pull the trigger on outside shots and attack in the post more. He was more aggressive, taking smaller players to the block and using his size to score over them like this. Although on these little flip shots, he did need a clean look to be effective, so instead he regularly busted out hook shots with both hands. And his combination of size, strength, and craftiness made him a serious mismatch against guards down there. And yes, if you send help, he would set up teammates from the block. Look, I'm not a doctor, but double teaming Magic Johnson in the post is not something I'd recommend.
Because he's going to find open man.
As Kareem faded, the Lakers actually played more in the half court behind Magic. Their pace was below average from 1987 to 1991, and that's when Magic quarterbacked some of the most efficient offenses in NBA history. In the back half of the 80s, the Lakers produced the third best offensive stretch since the shot clock in both the regular season and the playoffs. Defense, however, was another story. Johnson often guarded forwards or slower guards to offset his slow foot speed. His lack of lateral quickness made him vulnerable on an island. And you can see how choppy his side-to-side movement could be, sliding in front of a young Charles Barkley here. Take a closer look at his footwork. He's on his heels a lot, gambles with a reach, then can't really break well and commits a reckless foul. Same technique here, and he's roasted by a pedestrian point guard, although Magic rarely had to venture outside 20 feet in the 1980s like this. Back then, sagging way off guards who stood near the line was standard,
My boy
and this
Magic was a
buffer helped him
liability on
avoid breakdowns
defense?
in these matchups. When he played slower forwards, his size definitely helped him. Here, Bird's not quick enough to beat Magic's loping steps.
Okay.
And as he lost some quickness at the end of the decade, he could be assigned to jump shooting bigs, because LA's forwards, AC Green and James Worthy,
He don't need to
were
be
both
guarding no
nimble
quick
enough
guards,
to
so.
handle many wings.
Because at the end of the day,
If those
he is
big
a
men
6'8",
were to
6'9"
take Magic to the
forward.
post, his size offered some resistance, although even on the low block, his subpar agility and lack of vertical explosion could be exploited.
Oh, damn.
He was actually more comfortable double teaming the post, where he could dig down and attack big men of that post-centric era, although I wouldn't call his hands great. They could miss the mark, and he would foul on imprecise swipes at times. At 6'8", he did make kick-out passes a touch harder, yet he didn't attack the ball on that first dribble nearly as much as someone like Bird, often remaining upright on these plays or offering a weak flail at the rock. Magic's height was more of an asset
Magic,
on
stay on
entry
yours.
passes from smaller guards, and here comes that pseudo Euro step again.
Nice.
This is an overhead view of the perks of being tall, just throwing his hands up against a smaller guard, and deflections like this triggered that vaunted Showtime fast break. Like Bird, Magic also roamed a lot on the edge of the paint, so he could slide over on drives like this when he wasn't doubling the post. Here's a nice sequence where he stays with the cutter and then peels off to help on the action, and that deflection saved a Boston layup.
Okay.
He could also help
the
down
gaps,
on
right.
cutters at the rim, sniffing this out and doing just enough to disrupt it. And this is probably the best defensive play I've seen him make in the late 80s, quickly reacting to the pass this time, and those hands were right on the money.
Nice. So he's not
Yet
no
for
bad
all of his
defender.
court vision, Magic wasn't always aware of the ball, occasionally tunnel visioning on the screening action in front of him as the ball dribbled right past him. He also fell asleep every once in a while. After a jumper, Bird beat him over the top twice with this in one game.
Yeah, Bird
Here he is in
great outlet
transition,
passer.
unaware of the threat behind him, and he gets a taste of his own medicine. But these issues weren't too common. His bigger issue in the paint was verticality. He often slid over but offered statuesque resistance, and even Magic's better rotations weren't always effective because of how floor-bound he was. Here's a bumpy possession highlighting his two biggest weaknesses. He can't contain the guard courtside because of his slow feet, then he lingers on the edge of the paint and delicately slides to the ball for a foul. He rarely contested at the rim in the half court, but in transition he was often the first defender back, and he might as well have been 5'8" in these situations. It's not a huge part of the game either, but this is probably the best transition contest I found in countless opportunities. His typical approach in these spots was avoiding contact by subtly moving out of the way, which preserved Magic's body in exchange for
He probably didn't want to catch no foul.
defense. 0-inch vertical contests rarely work. He didn't block many shots during this period, and when he did catch one, it was using that same low block technique we saw from Bird, targeting the ball while it's in the hand still, and it's amazing to me how similar yet different these two were. Neither was suited to stay with quick perimeter players, and they often roamed around on defense, taking advantage of the compressed game back then. Bird pushed boundaries as an off-ball post player and shooter, while Magic cranked the dial up with his on-ball
game was
passing and
compressed, though,
speed
bruh.
game.
It's like no space.
And they also played next to Hall of Fame centers. And while Kevin McHale is rightfully heralded as an artist in the
because people,
post,
you know, it wasn't
James
really
Worthy
like
was
that,
an
but-
isolation machine.
Damn.
Worthy blended perfectly with Magic as Kareem faded, providing a more dynamic half-court backup plan. Note how many great Magic passes are off a Worthy cut. And of course,
Okay, Worthy.
Big Game James was incredible running the wing in transition.
Ugh, give me one.
Unfortunately, we can't really examine their missed time during the 80s because Magic and his teammates were so healthy. But the more comprehensive approach we used in episode 1 that figured out a player's impact on his team ranks Magic second all time, reinforcing, at the very least, that he was having monster offensive impact. All-in-one metrics also view his peak as one of history's very best, If we use 1986 instead of 1989 here, he's actually 5th in both stats, but I don't think there's enough of a defensive boost from that 86 season to outweigh his increased offensive aggression at the end of the decade. Remember, that aggression only enhanced his playmaking, the opposite phenomenon we discussed with Wilt Chamberlain in episode 1. Magic scored less than Wilt, but was a far more dominant weapon because he maximized his playmaking off of his scoring.
Yeah,
he did this with near optimal shot selection as well, rarely ever forcing low percentage attempts or settling for something easy before testing the defense.
Nice.
Magic's also viewed as a good rebounder because of his 6 or 7 boards a game, well listed as a point guard, but he was functionally closer to a wing and wasn't overly physical boxing out big men when switching on to them. And while there might have been a tactical advantage to him cleaning the glass to start the fast break, I think this kind of rebounding only added a little defensive value. I do think he could string together decent possessions in the moments where his motor was revved up, but it's hard to view him as much of a positive on that end. Instead, the offense is so good, it elevates him among the legends by itself. His game does come with a small trade-off. He was significantly less effective without monopolizing the basketball, meaning any other on-ball star wouldn't fit well next to him. But with post pieces or good finishers, he basically guaranteed you a championship-level offense. And that means, despite only scoring 20 points per game, Magic Johnson has a strong case as the greatest offensive player of all time.
As you can see on the screen, offensively, all-time passing speed in transition and in half court, he has tight handle and can use his body. He also has a high-level post game, is a crafty finisher at the rim, and draw fouls. And lastly, strong outside shooting with space, poor fit with other ball-dominant wings. So Magic has to have the ball in his hands to be effective, which is true from what I'm seeing. Magic, he needs to have the ball. He needs to have the ball to be effective. It's not like he's coming off screens, shooting pull-up middies, shooting pull-up threes, or, you know what I'm saying? It's nothing like that. He's a point guard. He has to have the ball in his hands, damn near at all times. But that's a good thing, too, because Magic Johnson is a great decision maker, and he doesn't put up low percentage shots. That's what I got from that. And on defense, he struggles against quick guards, preferred to roam and help near paint. Obviously, he's a longer defender. Outside, he can reach, and also if somebody wants to throw a pass across the court or between the lanes, you know, he's long enough, to get the ball. You feel what I'm saying? He's a weak rim protector, good defensive rebounder, which I expect, and also solid trapping instincts and decent hands near ball, obviously, is what I expect. But yeah, man, a great deep dive into Magic Johnson's career. I think this guy did a hell of a job putting this video together. I agree, bro. The best passer of all time, can see the play before it even happens, likes to get his teammates involved, doesn't shoot any low percentage shot, always try to create the best shot during that possession. He gets the ball and he moves it in transition, creates a lot of easy baskets for himself and his teammates. And yeah, a winner, you know what I'm saying, man? So yeah, man, salute Magic Johnson, man. This was a dope video. Obviously, he's a GOAT, but it's not one NBA player that's perfect. I mean, everybody gonna have their pros, their cons, you know, their strengths, their weaknesses. So it is what it is. He's still a GOAT, the best passer of all time, Magic Johnson. Salute, man. If y'all like that video, y'all like that reaction, hit the like button, man. Comment down below, man. Any video ideas y'all want me to react to next, and last but not least, subscribe. You and Groovy signing out. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one.